Hi, I'm Ramie Tateishi, and we're here at Doctor Who Worlds of Wonder at the Comic-Con Museum in Balboa Park. Let's go inside. Wow, here's a replica of the first TARDIS console. This was created for An Adventure in Space and Time, which was anniversary special. Something funny about the first TARDIS console, it was actually painted lime green because under black and white lighting conditions, it showed up as gleaming white.
What does the radiation read, Susan?
It's reading normal, Grandfather.
But just to see it here in person, it looks so amazing. And we get to see all the controls up close. They really did a beautiful job recreating this. I love that you can get up close and you can see the labels, that they used a label maker to label some of these controls here.
This is such a beautiful collection of all the TV Doctors, starting back from 1963. And notice how the image of the Doctor changes as we go through the decades. There's like a very classical Edwardian kind of feel, but then it gets more and more, eccentric as we go into now the 70s. And then into the 80s, I mean, certainly that one there, designed by Colin Lavers, whose brief actually was to make something totally tasteless. And so that's how we ended up with this look. This is a wonderful look here at the Seventh Doctor's costume, Sylvester McCoy, particularly the trousers. So this is an upholstery fabric, which, everyone's been trying to, find ever since. I don't know if they've made it since, the late 80s. So getting to see it up close like this is really thrilling. Over here, these are the modern Doctors for this series that started in 2005. Again, it's a pretty eclectic mix of different types of styles. The first one is the simplest, and there starts to be more and more eccentricity as we progress through these modern years here. A lot of the eccentricity comes to the details. For example, if you look at the shirt up close, Matt Smith's shirt, there's this very intricate sort of loophole design running all up and down the shirt. Something I love about this Peter Capaldi costume, if you zoom in there, you can see where it's distressed, the little rip right here down on the fabric. This is a beautiful, clever setup right here. These two robots whose names are kind of similar. K9 is the little dog-shaped robot down here. K1 is the big, tall robot. K1 was a very popular companion back in the 70s and 80s. Seeing it in person like this, the actual costume, this is just fantastic. For so many people here in the US, this was their first exposure to Doctor Who when Time Life brought the series over in 1978.
You are the Doctor?
How do you do? I've been so looking forward to meeting you.
Please confirm your identity.
Robot was the first episode that so many people saw on their PBS stations. And the robot looked really big on TV, but to see it in person, it really hits home how huge this thing is. And it's just beautiful to see. The robot's pincers were actually like in grocery stores. It was a device that they used to get cans off of high shelves. So that's what those were. I'm so excited to see this too. This is Omega from Arc of Infinity. That was a story in the 80s. This is the kind of thing that might have been traveling in the 80s, which was arguably the height of Doctor Who's popularity in the 20th century, back when it was playing on a lot of PBS stations. There was a traveling, Doctor Who traveling exhibition, it was called, where they just put props and costumes and things in a truck, in a trailer that traveled across the country, stopped off at different PBS stations to help promote the series. So this is a remake it's a completely re-envisioned version of a costume that was created in 1973, Omega, who was a well-known Doctor Who villain. So this is the new Omega for 1983. And the costume was fabricated by Richard Gregory. So his initials are RG. And if you zoom in here on the medallion, you can see the letter, he worked the letters RG into the medallion. I'm so excited to see the Rarth Warrior and Beep the Meep, who were comic book characters in the 70s. They made an episode about them just very recently. It's wonderful to see how they were envisioned as, actual physical characters. Again, they started off just as characters on the comic book page, and they look great. I remember as a kid wanting action figures of these, and now that they have these sort of real-life counterparts, maybe we'll get those action figures. Here's a magnificent Ice Warrior. This is just an amazing costume. I think this would have been worn by Bernard Breslau or Sonny Caldinas. There were 4 stories: Seeds of Death, Ice Warriors, Chrysopeladon, and Monster of Peladon that the Ice Warriors appeared in, and just A wonderful feature, which you can see here, is the seam and then the screws where the pieces of the costume attach. Just being able to see that, which you never saw on TV, just adds a new dimension to your appreciation of the costume. Here's something else I'm very, very excited to see. This is Sabalam Glitz, who's kind of like a lovable rogue type figure in 80s Doctor Who. This is his spaceship, the Nosferatu from Dragonfire. That was the name of the story. Just the fact that this model survives is just fantastic, but I also love that it is a model back from when, that's how they had to do it. They didn't make spaceships out of, CG yet. And so you can see the actual tangible object here, and there's just a different connection that you have to something like this. If you had a favorite spaceship, if it was the Millennium Falcon or an X-Wing or the Enterprise or whatever, there's an actual model of it. And so you can go visit it, and you can have a different relationship with that as opposed to now. It would probably be made by CG computer graphics, and there's not a real-life object of it. And so it's just a different type of relationship that you have. And so it's just a nice callback to a different time and how we had these different relationships with the props and costumes and objects in our favorite TV shows.